The partnerships revolution isn't coming, it's always been here.
Here to discuss this great strategic alliance between Bain and OpenAI.
New partnership with Apple in China.
The first thing is partnerships are everything, everywhere. In this video, I'm going to explain what partnerships are, why they're so important, and how you can leverage them in your business. You navigate the world without truly understanding just how much is built upon partnerships. A few years ago, we were in COVID. What got us out? We saw data partnerships with Johns Hopkins sharing information around the world. We saw arch-rival F1 teams banding together to create ventilators. And the big one, we saw vaccine partnerships. Oxford, AstraZeneca coming together to do a partnership. I'm Sal, founder of QTA, and we're obsessed with partnerships. Not just the headlines, but the mechanics behind them. Let's take the Meta Ray-Ban glasses, for instance. You've got two companies, one at the top of their game in eyewear design, and the second, a technology company that managed to pull off some of the most breathtaking hardware. But that's just the surface. Who came up with the idea? Who paid for the development? What does a legal contract look like? How did they take it to market? It's not just a partnership between the two of them, but thousands of retail stores that also resell this, Sunglass Hut for instance. How do you get all of these people trained on the new product? That is the art of partnerships, and done right, it can be transformative for your business. I think the first thing is exposing the partnership lie, that they're rare. The fact is, most large companies are built on partnerships. If I take Google for instance, a lot of their growth was built on agency partnerships. If you look at YouTube, they'll have creator partnerships. If you look at Google Pay, they have banking partnerships. If you look at Android, they have developer partnerships. If you look at Waymo, they partnered with Uber to do the booking system. But it's not just a company like Google. If we switch gears to a company like Microsoft, the world's largest partnership company, they had a philosophy that for every $1 they made, their partners would make 20. If we look at Salesforce, they've deliberately left out developing features so that their partners have a place to play in the ecosystem. And it's not just philanthropy, it's strategic, it's 4D chess. You take a step back at even why Microsoft won. Okay, granted they had great technology, but what they did incredibly well is OEM partnerships. They went to all the PC manufacturers and said, hey, rather than customers having to choose an operating system, why can't Windows come bundled in? That switches them from competing on a technology basis to an integration basis. Suddenly, developers face a very difficult choice. They know that Windows is already on every single PC, so what do they have to do? They have to build Windows, which means that even if a better technology comes along, the appetite for them to build on it is low because they know that everybody has already gravitated to the Windows ecosystem. Okay, you get it, I like partnerships, but why should you stand up and take notice? There are three things for me that really stand out. The first is ad-fueled growth. Companies used to get a bunch of money from investors, develop an ad strategy, not really look at whether there was a positive return on ad spend on that, and just keep spending. That world has disappeared. Investors are asking for growth, but profitable growth, which means you need to find new ways to attract customers. The second is big platforms are becoming more and more black box. It used to be you could tweak SEO or figure out the algorithm. Now what do we have? SEO is becoming harder and harder to master. Going viral across platforms is becoming a dark art. No one really knows how these platforms work. And finally, we're seeing email limitations take force to stop spam emails entering inboxes. All of this is making it harder and harder for companies to take control of the growth that they want to drive. I typically give the example of a futuristic email marketing platform. Imagine MailChimp, but with all the AI features you could ever imagine. They've got the product built, and now it's time to acquire customers. Do they spend a bunch of money on ads? Do they hire a sales team for a SaaS product? Do they go to someone like GoDaddy and say, hey, you get 1 million visitors to your site each week to buy domains. How about if you add us to the checkout basket? All of a sudden they get tapped into this massive base of customers who most likely need the product that they have as a next step anyway. And for GoDaddy, who are discounting domains on purchase, suddenly get an income stream that supersedes what they were actually selling. So this is stuff I've been preaching for years. Okay, these things are happening. I think there's a bigger shift happening, which means people really need to pay attention to partnerships. And this is a world of headless marketing. We're heading into an agentic flow where everything from finding a customer to booking a call might be done autonomously. So that sounds great if you're the end customer, but if you are one of the products along the way Suddenly you need to have the right partnerships to make sure you're involved in that flow. Our belief is that this agentic flow will be more like a superhighway than it is a meandering Roman horse and cart road. So what does that mean? Well, I will ask my agent to go and find, enrich, and send messages on my behalf, but I'll send it through a specific highway which leverages partnerships that have been created along the way. And I'll do this because those partners have created a tightly knit ecosystem where there are wholesale deals and credits for each interaction that happens along the way. So for instance, it might start the journey on ChatGPT. It will then go and get the prospect data from Apollo. It will then go and enrich that in Clay. It will then go and send those emails in instantly via Google Workspace. And those companies will have tightly formed partnerships that actually create a unique proposition for an end user. If you're not one of those SaaS companies that are building these coalition partnerships, you might get left out in the cold. Hugging Face launched a marketplace that already has over 3,000 companies on it. For an AI to figure out which is the best one to go to, what are the best rates, how does it interact with the rest, is a lot of work. When there are tightly knit partnerships and an ecosystem that's already been created, with cost advantages, people will send their agents down these flows, which makes partnerships all the more important. Okay, great, you made it this far. How do you do them? Well, we use a 3-step process: align, design, deliver. So you need to figure out which companies align well with your proposition. And that could be within the same vertical or complementary verticals that can come together. So for instance, I might have an accountancy service that looks after contractors. Well, great. It's really hard to get a mortgage if you're a contractor. What if I work with a mortgage broker that deals specifically in contractor workflows? Or it could be a coalition to solve a particular problem. If you take the problem of international migrants moving to the UK, you can break that down of, okay, they're going to need a bank account. All of these connections could be joined together under a coalition partnership. And then you need to go into the design. So this could be anything from how is the billing systems going to work? Who's going to do the business plan? What do the legals look like? How long do they look like that for? What does the kickback agreement look like? So you need to go into the detail of all the things that make partnerships successful. We have a slide, I'll pop it up on the screen here, and I'll send you a copy if you'd like one. The final part is a delivery. So you've built the APIs, you've got the connections going, you've got the marketing collateral. The big thing now is who's going to manage it, who's going to push it, who's going to train people, who's going to do the PR releases. We have a saying that a partnership doesn't end with a handshake, it begins with one. I think the real work actually falls into this last stage of delivering. How do you tweak the proposition? How do you make it work? A lot of people will launch something, see it not working in the first week and turn their back on it. You definitely have to iterate your way to success with partnerships. So a message recap, the partnership revolution isn't coming, it's already here. And mix that with the AI revolution, you definitely want to make sure you're in a position to win. Done right, partnerships can be the largest accelerator to your business. We saw OpenAI go from 250 million active users to 2.2 billion when they launched Apple Intelligence in partnership with Apple, integrating into virtually every iPhone and MacBook. What's yours going to be?